I've seen many videos about aiming. They do talk about make these changes, you'll be good at aiming, do this, do that. But the main thing to actually improve at aiming is build a stronger foundation. That's when you're going to have your own variations of aim that actually suit you. Try to bring out your foundations first, get that to a strong point, and then when you think, oh, I can't do one scenario because of this, I need to change my arm this way. So then that way you could start building your own aim. It doesn't really depend on, oh, follow this pro player, just do this to get better aim. You're trying to build your own style of aim. Even if it's the same as someone else's, it's still your own style. You understand it the best. So this can come down to you sit, how you position your arm, how close your monitor is, if you're actually relaxed. I'll name some things that you need to actually have a foundation. First of all, hand-eye coordination, smoothness of your aim. Thirdly, quickly change directions of your aim. Other things go to reaction time, flow state, angle holding. So let's start with how we're sitting first. Firstly, your monitor should be at least eye level. Just make sure not to get too close to the monitor. Even though I've heard that, oh, it can increase your reaction time and headshot percentage, don't do it. It's gonna affect your eyes. And it genuinely strains my eyes as well. Secondly, your arm positioning. Well, there's two places you could put your arm if you're trying to learn the foundation. Having your arm on the table or having your arm on the table and a bit out of the table. Having it on the table helps with tracking. Having it a bit out helps with quick changes of movement. There's also finger positionings, the claw method, then there's your whole palm on the mouse, whatever tenses, whatever that is. Obviously, you'll start developing your own arm aim when you get stronger foundations. Remember, after you finish the foundations, you'll start branching off to other sides that you're the strongest at. Either it be quick change, track, or just pure reaction time. So I'd recommend using the flow method first because it gives the most versatility. You could change your things quickly, like micro adjustments. It's basically the foundation of what you want to shoot. You could also use the palm method, but there are risks to it. Like, for example, you will have somewhat of a struggle with micro adjustments, but you could obviously overcome that by using your wrist instead. It's just that the claw method is more fine-tuned for that, but it is flimsy. It has its disadvantages as well. Tenz's mouse positioning is actually pretty good because it has stability over the whole mouse, and you could use your wrist for the movement. But it's awkward for most people to use, so unless you feel comfortable with that, don't use it. Now, let's go over hand-eye coordination. The main way to actually flick and be able to flick properly is your hand-eye coordination. How good your hand-eye coordination depends on whether you overshoot, undershoot, or correctly shoot. That was a bit too correct. That's usually because of your hand-eye coordination. To increase this, I would recommend playing Osu. Only does this increase reaction time and pattern recognition, but it also increases hand-eye coordination. Site I would recommend is a real me and go into hand-eye coordination. See if you could get a high score on there. If you can't, obviously, then you need a bit of practice in improving your hand-eye coordination. Next is reaction time, something under 200 ms. It's easy to get to under 200 ms, so you're aiming for 200 ms average, and preferably 175 ms if you're really good. Which this is just really good. So I want you to do. Firstly, 6-shot. This helps with your micro adjustment. Then it's grid shot basically. Helps with speed of your aim. And then it's sphere check. This just helps with smoothing your aim. To find your right sense, feel whatever's comfortable. Let's say your Valorant sense is 0.5 and you're comfortable with that. You want to try 0.12 and 0.175 and see which one you think is better to your situation. Depending on that, you can actually train them, and sense doesn't really matter, so you could always train them to fit your style. And finally is trying to reach flow state. Now to achieve flow state, you need to have a doable challenge. It's not too easy, but it's also not too hard. It's just challenging enough to the point you can actually do it with your skill if you actually locked in hard enough, right? You'll start when in the flow state, you'll feel actually somewhat warm, right? And your arm movement is actually going to be much smoother and more firm. And by firm, I mean your arm doesn't feel like it's doing that too much, and it doesn't feel slow when it's like that. Your hand-eye coordination is really good, and your micro adjustment is really quick as well. So that is what happens in flow state. Obviously, this has happened to me a couple times, and those are usually the times I drop like 20k, and sometimes even like 30 kills. You want to have full confidence in your aim, and that's usually how you get better at aiming. And that's when you can branch off to higher levels where then the videos you see will actually have meaning. After you have confidence, then your game sense improves. Game sense improves, but you don't necessarily need aim to be able to achieve game sense. But it's difficult to have good aim whilst having good game sense, and that's usually when you want to hit the flow. Another foundation you need to learn is keeping your mouse at head level. Hold your angles properly. When holding angles, there are three things that can happen. I feel like you could hold angles on any game, as long as you can be prepared and your reaction time is quick. So to hold angles, first, if you don't know where the person is, and if you don't know where they're going to swing, you want to hold an angle slightly wider than the wall. Secondly, if you know where the person is and they've been jiggle peeking, let's say they're right here, keep it there, keep your mouse there, but move it slightly inwards. Try to think that when they're moving, you're actually seeing them through the wall and they're moving at that same speed that way. So then you could track them. That's where your tracking comes in. And finally, if they are wide swinging, well, if you think they're going to wide swing, just keep it there. Eventually, you're going to have to track them anyway for the wide swing. You want to make sure never to panic, right? This comes into calm aim. Don't panic when they try to wide swing and you're like, oh, let me shoot, let me shoot. That's when your aim's going to be shaky, right? Don't do that. What you want to do is, oh, I see this person moving that way, and they're still moving that way. Don't shoot till your mouse can track their head consistently. You do sphere track just so your mouse could track them consistently. Yeah, and that should be the foundation to aim. What you want to improve is hand-eye coordination, posture, arm plus, and finally trying to reach the flow state and angle holding. Hand-eye coordination will be universal. Tracking is also universal. Posture comes with universal. Reaction time, it doesn't really matter as long as you have good movement. That way, you can actually make up for your reaction time. But it would be good to improve your reaction time as well. Arm and finger placement. This is not universal, but you want to follow the foundations first and then branch out to your own style of aim. Flow state, well, we discussed previously that your body does get slightly warm, and that's what I've been feeling whenever I've reached flow state. And my arm does become more smoother, like my arm movement does become smoother and more firm. But muscle adjustment is also quick. And then finally, angle holding. I'd say angle holding is actually universal as well, because it comes down to every side. You'll always have to hold an angle at one point and move towards that way, or move around and then track your arm that way. This comes into tracking. Angle hold actually does come into tracking, not just staying there and waiting for them to move so you can just tap them at that exact same spot. And yeah, that's the foundations to it. I'd say when you hit confidence, and that is when, oh, this person's there, I'll be able to hit them. So you move your mouse there, hit them, and then just move on to the other person without having to worry about this person at all. Like in your head, you're like, yep, I hit them, let's move. That's when you've hit confidence. After you've hit that, you'll slowly start building up your own arm position and you'll get better at aim. This is the end of the video, and thank you for watching.